Chapter 3. Put your plan to work in your personal relationships. You don't get harmony when everybody sings the same note. Doug Floyd. Home, sweet home. Home should be a place full of comforts where you can feel loved just for being you. Unfortunately, for many people who lack assertiveness, their relationships at home are just another word for battleground. If you lack the boundaries to be heard and respected at home, you will feel as if you're always compromising your wants and needs in order to keep the peace in your relationships. This is truly unfortunate, as there are enough struggles with people in the outside world. If you want your relationships to be a haven, a safe respite from the storm, it is important to assert yourself with the people to whom you are close. Whether it's a partner or spouse, child or parent, having boundaries for yourself and respecting others in your home can create that much-needed soft space on which to land at the end of a long day. Your heart, your reflection. We will start the discussion of relationships with significant others. It's been said that we always hurt the ones we love the most. When someone loves you, there is an unwritten and unsaid rule that that person will be there for you and will take care of your needs. When your needs are not met, it is hurtful. Even though they love you, their love creates pain. Many times this hurt results from miscommunication. Miscommunication causes pain when partners don't express their needs and wants clearly and with respect. Your partner may feel that he or she is doing all the right things to be a good spouse, but if you never communicate what was done wrong or what he or she should be doing right, that person will never know. Assertive, respectful communication prevents the hurtful situations caused by miscommunication and assures that each person has a chance to be heard and, more importantly, have his or her needs met. You teach your partner how to treat you, and here's how to use assertive communication to teach that partner to treat you with love and respect. 1. Take back the power. At one point in your relationship, you made the decision to share a home with this person. If you feel that you can't be comfortable there, you can repeat the following. No one has the right to make me feel uncomfortable in my own home. There, you've just set or reset the first basic paradigm for yourself. 2. Determine what you want. Figure out what changes you desire in the relationship. If you don't know what you are seeking, how will your partner know? If you are not clearly expressing your needs and wants in a calm, assertive way, and preferably not in the middle of an argument, then part of the dilemma is stemming from you. Determine what it is that you crave from this person so you can clearly communicate it. 3. Communicate your want. Utilizing the physical and verbal assertiveness strategies discussed in Chapter 2, find time to discuss your relationship with your partner calmly. This doesn't need to be an overdramatic, we need to talk moment. Merely set aside some time to say, I want our life together to continue and improve. Then explain what you want using I or me statements. Be willing to listen truly and actively to your partner's responses and needs as well. Being able to communicate your wants will help your partner appreciate your position in the relationship. 4. Continue to be caring. Asserting yourself with your spouse does not give you an excuse to become less giving or caring. Setting boundaries with your significant other means opening your heart so that you can better project and reflect love. It's vital to the growth of your relationship. In fact, part of the boundaries you should be establishing should include setting specific time aside to spend in a low-pressure way with the person you love. Date night doesn't have to be fancy dinners out. It could be a quiet night at home or a relaxing walk together. Realize that you need to guard your time together and set that boundary to help your relationship flourish. Now that you have a series of strategies to help you communicate with your partner, let's look at some scenarios that will show you how to put this information to use. Scenario 1. Problem: you seem to fight all the time about household chores. Suggestion: sit down together and list out all the chores that require attention. Often, We become so consumed with what we do for the other person that we forget the things the other person does for us. For instance, you may think that you are the only one who cleans and maintains the house. However, you may overlook all the work your spouse may be doing to maintain the yard, driveway, and garage, as well as taking care of the major repairs when things go wrong. Writing the list gives you both a clear idea of how much each person contributes to the overall chores. After creating the list, determine if the responsibilities are lopsided. You may find that your spouse is, in fact, very involved in many of the day-to-day activities. In that case, you may realize that you need to be the person lending the hand. On the opposite end, the list may confirm that household chores are lopsided against you while your partner does little. In this case, discuss how the two of you will separate the duties more evenly. Discuss what chores you are willing to do and which chores you expect your partner to do. More importantly, discuss which chores you can do together or take turns doing. This is a chance for open dialogue and compromise. It is not a time for you to begrudgingly accept the majority of the work just to keep the peace. You can utilize I and me statements or approach this with empathy. For example, you could begin with, I know it isn't much fun doing housework, but it needs to be done. Someone has to do them, and that someone is us. I am willing to share this burden with you as we need to work as a team. Once duties are separated, hold each other accountable for getting the work done. Make sure that your partner holds her end of the bargain. More importantly, make sure you hold your end as well. Otherwise, you will seem hypocritical, causing your partner to mistrust you. Scenario 2. Problem. You feel your partner doesn't listen to you. Suggestion. Begin by assessing how you converse with your partner. When you talk to your partner, how do you speak? Do you always whine, moan, and complain? Are you constantly harsh, vulgar, and rowdy? If you are doing either, you are causing your own problems. Speaking to people in a whiny or harsh tone is draining. As mentioned in the last chapter, the wrong tone makes the other party stop paying attention. He or she may not even realize they are doing this. They simply begin to tune out. If this is your normal mode of communication with your partner, it may be the reason your partner does not listen. He or she cannot help but tune you out. To prevent your partner from resisting your efforts to communicate, don't be overly harsh or loud. More importantly, don't let this be your baseline method of communication with your partner. Instead, talk to your significant other as though you are both adults. The person is not your parent that you run to with all your problems, and neither is that person a bratty child who requires reprimanding. This person is your significant other with whom you share your experiences. Maybe the reason you started to whine and or sound harsh in the first place is because your partner never listens. That is, the problem is not in fact with you, but rather with your partner. If the problem is stemming from your partner, then this is the time to use assertive communication. When you confront your partner, look at each other. Be firm. Don't approach your partner whining or crying about how you feel. Don't demand your partner's attention either. Use the specific language techniques explained in Chapter 2 and calmly assert, when you don't pay attention to me, it makes me feel invisible. I have something important to discuss with you. Please turn off the TV so we can discuss it. Also, be mindful of your partner's needs. Understand where your partner is coming from. Your partner may be preoccupied with work or have other things on his or her mind that is creating the distraction. If your partner is preoccupied with work or stressed about an upcoming event, be cognizant of this. He or she may need a listening ear first before shifting their focus to you. Remember, assertive communication is about the other person's perspective as well. Scenario 3. Problem. You're not satisfied with your sex life. Suggestion. Sex is vital to any relationship. In fact, many experts agree that sex is the glue that binds a healthy partnership. The problem is that sex can be complex. Not only is sex seen as taboo, but many times people feel awkward talking about it, especially with their partner. If you feel uneasy about the topic, it's important to establish a level of trust and security with your partner to feel comfortable enough to express yourself. You can begin to build trust by talking about your likes outside of the bedroom rather than in the heat of the moment, which is likely to distract you both and may not result in a productive, respectful conversation. You may find your partner is willing to give more to you physically and emotionally in the bedroom if you are willing to communicate in a respectful way. Another way to approach this is to actually take charge and assert your desires. Show your partner what you want. Some people would be relieved to have their partner show them rather than discuss it, so don't be afraid to take charge. Remember, assertiveness comes with respect. This isn't an opportunity to suddenly become aggressive unless you've come to an agreement with your partner beforehand. Often difficulty in asserting your sexual desires arise if you are uncomfortable with your physical appearance. If you are not comfortable enough with your body to feel safe with someone else, this can affect your intimate relationship. Feelings of shame or disappointment about your appearance may be projected to your partner. It can be hard for your partner to desire someone who doesn't like him or herself and therefore is noticeably uncomfortable with intimacy. If this is an issue for you, spend some time evaluating what you do like about your body. If you begin to think of your beautiful features, you may find ways to emphasize those features through your dress and demeanor. Parenting children. Being a parent can be one of the most simultaneously challenging and rewarding experiences in life. Good parents work hard to provide the best for their children so they can grow up to be successful, productive members of society. In an effort to provide the best, however, parents sometimes fail to set proper boundaries. They fail to show their adolescents how to behave, how to treat others, as well as how to take care of things and clean up after themselves. More importantly, they may fail to set the correct limits as it relates to respect and courtesy for their parents. If you want your children to treat you with kind words instead of eye rolls and respond to your requests rather than to ignore you, you need to apply a certain degree of assertiveness in your interactions with them. As mentioned, assertiveness is about mutual respect. This applies to children as well. It is not about submitting to their every cry because they are so precious to you, and it is not about being overly authoritative in a way that implies your child needs you to supervise their every move. Communicating assertively with your child is about having a positive relationship where you are there for them, and they are appreciative of your efforts and aware of their responsibilities. Speaking assertively with children conveys respect while simultaneously commanding respect. To speak assertively with your children, use clear, concise statements like, "Please clean your room." You are not asking them, and neither are you yelling at them. You are conveying that they are worthy of your respect, and you of theirs. As always, stay away from aggressive and passive communication. Using aggressive or abusive language isn't likely to teach children how to treat others and will simultaneously lower their self-esteem. In fact, your tactic of aggressiveness may backfire, causing your child to resist you and your instructions even further. On the other hand, if you are passive and take a hands-off approach, you will likely leave your children guessing as to what you expect of them and how they should respond to you. Even worse, a passive approach gives the impression that it is okay to continue to act inappropriately. Be firm, but not bossy. Let's look at some examples of how you can be more assertive when interacting with your children. Say you want your child to become more involved with household chores as she gets older and asks for more privileges. An assertive parent could begin the conversation this way. "Lance, I know you have asked me to extend your curfew. I will consider doing this, but we need to discuss how you can do more around the house to help out first. I will need you to load and unload the dishwasher each day, and I want you to start doing some of your own laundry. I will show you how to do this, but you will need to keep this up each week. If you can show responsibility in your chores, I will consider extending your curfew." As another example, if your child tends to ignore you or your rules or constantly talks back to you, you could say, "Lee, I love you. However, the way you are treating me tells me that you are angry with me and is disrespectful. I want this to stop, and I want us to get along better. When I ask you to do something, I want it done the first time without a sarcastic response. If you can't do this, I will take away your privileges to use the car or to play video games. I'd like to hear your thoughts on why our relationship has become so difficult and how you can help improve it. In both of the above examples, your comments use clear, concise statements that communicate what you want. You are standing your ground without being pushy. You are giving your child respect while setting specific rules and boundaries he or she craves. This shows that you are in charge of the situation and you will not tolerate bad behavior. The above examples are generic scenarios, but the assertive pattern can be molded and applied to many types of situations you encounter with your child. Whatever the situation, what you want to do is express respect and love for your children. Tell them what is going wrong and why you're not happy with them. Tell them specifically what you expect them to do and how to treat you. Explain the consequences if they can't comply with your rules. Finally, actively listen to your children so they can explain their side. Then, you can open the discussion up further to come to an agreement together. The bottom line, dealing with your children assertively, is the same as with any other person. When you treat someone with respect and are clear in your meaning, that person is more likely to respond with the same respect. This will take patience and time, but mostly it will take practice. Honest, open expression, however, is something you will probably find that your children will respond well to and could enhance your relationship dramatically. Reversing roles. Now that we have discussed how to be assertive with children, let's swing to the other end and talk about how to apply assertiveness when dealing with parents. Obviously, if you have a positive and healthy relationship with your parents, there is no need to assert yourself with them. However, if you have overbearing, judgmental, or otherwise difficult parents, and it is affecting the quality of your life, it is important to stand up and break their incessant behavior. Overbearing or judgmental parents may believe that it is not only their right, but their duty to speak to their adult children in a way that is construed as less than respectful. They may criticize where you live, your career path, or even the partner you have chosen. The way you raise your own children may even become a contentious topic. To handle difficult parents, it helps to first examine your relationship with them. Are you always seeking their approval or constantly acting needy? Are you irresponsible? If so, you are setting your own limits in how they treat you. If you are always trying to gain the approval of your parents and run to them when you have a problem rather than trying to face it on your own, they will see you as a child. As a result, they will treat you like one. If you want them to show you respect, look at your actions that externally project your status as a child and change them. Let go of always trying to get their approval. Stop acting needy and take charge of yourself and your life. If you make mistakes, acknowledge them and take the appropriate actions to find a solution. Don't always look to them for the solution. The more you act like a mature adult, the more people will treat you like one, including your parents. The expectation is not that you become fully independent from your parents. There will come times when you will need their support. If what you're really after is a lending hand and a listening ear, then let them know that. You can preface your conversation with, "I'm mulling something over and would like your opinion." When they offer their opinion, you can respectfully say, "Thanks for listening. I will consider what you've said, but will be making my own decision later." Becoming your parents' ally and friend rather than just their child can have long-lasting benefits for both of you. Your parents will likely feel less of a self-imposed responsibility to continually parent you. Simultaneously, you are less likely to feel a similar self-imposed responsibility to live up to their expectations. You may find that you actually enjoy being your parents' friend more than you enjoyed being their child. If the difficulty in interacting with your parents is not a result of any childish behavior on your end, then the issue is your parents. If your parents are holding you back from leading a mature and independent life, it is time to set boundaries. Look at what you might have done as an adult that gave them the idea that they could treat you disrespectfully. Then, use what you have learned in this book to set those boundaries with them. If indeed you have tried to establish boundaries that your parents refuse to respect, you must lay some ground rules for yourself and for them. For example, your mother comes over to your house for dinner and complains the entire time she's there about your home and the meal you've made. You can reply with, "Mum, I invited you over here tonight because I love you and wanted to spend some time together. This is my home that I have chosen, and I pay for it myself. I no longer live in your home. When you criticize my home and the meal I've served, you are insulting me. I want us to work together to change that so we can treat each other with respect. You're welcome here, but only if you can speak to me respectfully." This may seem extreme or harsh, but when you establish that your home is yours, not hers, and the behavior you expect from her while she is in your home, you lay the boundary lines. If your mother chooses to continue to belittle you while in your home, she now knows that she is crossing those lines and will no longer be welcome there. The older we get, the more set we get in our ways, and the harder it is to change. This means the more you're going to have to stand your ground. If your mother has been mistreating for a long time, it will not be easy for her to change that habit. She may frown, pucker, resist, and pout. You may have to endure the silent treatment from her. You could offer to try a visit in her home, but with the understanding that you will only do so if she can speak respectfully to you. Parents who refuse to treat their adult children as peers can be a complex, difficult situation, but if you approach the topic with respect and calm, clear directives about how you want to be treated, you can begin to change the dynamics of the relationship. Aggressive behavior from parents is like aggressive behavior from anyone else. It's best met with respectful, clear assertions of what you want and need and what is not acceptable behavior in the relationship. Parenting your parents. If someday you find that the parent-child relationship roles are reversed and that you need to care for your parents, having a relationship based on mutual regard can make this transition easier. As adults, we are sometimes called upon to become a caretaker for a parent. Whether this is due to injury or illness or for financial reasons, shifting from being your parent's child and hopefully friend to their advocate and caretaker can be extremely difficult. It becomes more difficult if the parent has health issues that affect memory or behavior, such as dementia or Alzheimer's disease. If you find yourself in this situation, it becomes critical that you set boundaries for both you and your parent. Sadly, you may feel as though you have become the parent and the parent is now the child. Hence, the subtitle of Parenting Your Parents. Just as your parents cared for you, it's now your job to care for them. Being an assertive communicator will give you some useful tools in working with others to ensure that your parent is receiving what he or she needs. First, realize that it may not be possible for you to do everything. It may be physically impossible for you to work full-time, raise your own children, and care for your parent each and every day. Assertive communication allows you to step off the merry-go-round for a moment and say, "I need help." There should be no shame or regret in saying this. In fact, the more that you can admit this fact to yourself, the more empowered you will be to delegate tasks so that your parent receives the best possible care. If you have siblings, this is the time to use assertive communication with "I need" and "I want" statements that explain how you'd like to create a plan for your parents' care. For example, you can say, "Haley, I need a break today so that I can take care of some errands. Would you please check on Mom at 12 o'clock to make sure she eats lunch? I'm going to spend some time with her tonight, so I have to take care of these errands." This is clear and respectful communication that gives you some breathing room as well. If your parent is in a hospital, you can use assertive communication to become his or her best advocate. It may feel awkward at first, but if you ask questions, the more likely you are to understand what is being done to care for your parent. For example, you might say, "Dr. Smith, I'm not sure I understand why you've changed Dad's medication. He seems to be feeling worse now. Could you please explain the new course of treatment to me? Your question may clear up some concerns you or your dad have about how he's feeling since starting the new medication. Your dad may have been feeling too sick to ask the question himself. When speaking with your parent, utilizing I statements and empathy are likely to help you assert yourself. For example, Mom, I know you aren't feeling well today. I'm here to help you. But when you yell at me and call me incompetent, it hurts my feelings. Please be more respectful as I'm trying to help you get better. If you were to merely suffer your mom's verbal abuse in silence, it's not likely that you would be able to care for her for very long, and your feelings of aggression would likely fester. Taking on the care of a sick parent can be overwhelming, but there are a myriad of resources available to those who need help. Don't be afraid to talk to your parent's doctor for suggestions as to outside sources that can provide for your parent's needs. Again, admitting that your mental and physical resources aren't boundless can be difficult, but if you allow yourself to set clear boundaries as to what you can and cannot provide for your parent and convey that information respectfully to everyone involved, this process will become easier each day. You'll give yourself the breathing room you need to plan and execute their care. Now that you're communicating assertively in your personal life, it's time to examine how you can best use these strategies in your professional life.